Good day, kids. Today we are going to talk about transportation. Our subject is social studies from religion and national values. My name is Opeyemi Aderoba. Now, in today's class, we will talk about transportation and the different types of transportation and why we need transportation. Now, at the end of this class, you should be able to know what transportation is, the types and modes of transportation, and you should be able to know the advantages of transportation. Now, what is transportation? Transportation is how we move things. People, for example, how we move people. People are an example of things. So how we move people, that is you and me, daddy and mommy. And how we move animals, hen, chicken, cow, and how other people how people, things, and the police, how they move, how the fireman moves, and those are all things. And how we move things from one place to another is called transportation. For example, how you move from home to school. Now, how you now move from home to school and back is called transportation. Also, how you move from your home to your church, and how you move from home to the market, or how daddy and mommy moves from home to the workplace is called transportation. Now, why do we need transportation? Well, because we have to get from home to school. Daddy has to get from home to work, and you have to also get food like rice and beans from the market. And of course, when you want to go and travel and see friends and family, you need transportation. Now, I'll give you a little bit of history about transportation. Transportation, now these little four squares, they are going to show us the little history on transportation. Before, in the very olden days, people used to just walk. For example, people used to walk from Lagos to Ibadan. You can imagine how stressful that was. People used to walk everywhere. Then later, human beings decided, look, we can't be walking all the time. There are horses there, and there are camels, and there are donkeys. So human beings later now started domesticating animals. Animals like donkey, animals like horses, like you can see here, where donkeys are used to carry load. And here as well, and the third picture, square picture, where humans are actually on horses to ride them from one place to the other. And later, the wheels were invented. Then human beings, we now started putting wheels on carts and on horses to move us from one place to another. And as soon as the wheels were invented, then every other thing else started coming up from there. We now started having the rail, and we now started having the cars, and so on and so forth. Now, we're going to talk about the different types of transportation. There are numerous types of transportation. We have land transportation, we have rail transportation, we have water transportation, and we have air transportation. These are the major types of transportation. Now, land transportation, let's go. That is how we move on land, how we travel on land. For example, when dad is driving to work, when mommy is going to the market, or mommy is going to work, or how you are getting to school by bus. Those are ways, those are land transportation, and that's how we move on land. Now, with land transportation, there are various forms of land transportation. We have, of course, the bicycle. How many of us has a bicycle? Say I if you have a bicycle. Yes, Bicycles are usually have two wheels, and that's how people can move. For example, if you are moving to go and see your friend, you can use a bicycle, or farmers usually use bicycles too. Then we have the motorcycle. The motorcycle is motorized and it can carry two people, at least two people. And in Nigeria, we call motorcycles Okada. But don't call it Okada. When daddy or mommy says Okada, you say, "No, mom, no, dad, it's a motorcycle." You can see an image here of a man on a motorcycle and a woman carrying a child. And another one here of a man and two other passengers on a motorcycle. Another form of land transportation that we have are cars. Cars usually have four wheels. You can see your daddy has a car, your mommy has a car, your neighbor has a car. Cars usually come in different types and in different shapes. But cars are another form of road transportation. Obviously, as well, they go faster than motorbikes and bicycles. Then another form of land transportation is jeep. Jeeps, or in some cases, they call them SUV. SUV are forms of jeep, big vehicles that can convey more than 5 people. You have an example here, the Range Rover, and another one here called the Jeep Cherokee. Then we have buses, like how you get to school in the morning. Some of us go to school in the morning in buses, and most public transports in Lagos and in Nigeria are done through buses. Buses usually carry a lot of people, usually from between, I think, between 10 people to, in some cases, some buses carry up to 100 people. Now, buses are good. You can see here this is an example of the BRT bus in Lagos, and this on the right hand side is an example of the Danfo bus in Lagos, how people move from one place to another on land. Now, we also have trucks and lorries. Trucks and lorries are always used to carry most times, especially goods and services, like how your parcel gets to you, how your mail gets to you, how animals are being transported, and how food is being transported in the market and to the market from the farm. These are trucks. They are bigger. They usually have between 6 tires and more, and in some cases, some have up to 16 to 18 tires. Now, another form of transportation is rail transportation. Now, rail transportation is the movement of things on rails. For example, trains move on rails. These are 2 examples of trains, and they move on rail. Trains can carry up to about 1,000 people or more, and in some cases they are used to transport goods from one place to the other. When school resumes, the teacher will take you to a nearby rail line where you can see rails, and if you are lucky, you see a train go by. Now, trams are also a form of rail transport. Trams are used in big cities, like if you go to Europe and in America and in North America, you see where trams work on rail, but they go side by side with cars on the road. Trams are also a form of rail transport. Now, another popular one is water transportation. This is the movement and transportation through water. Now, one that we know very well, this 3 images of a canoe. Now, canoe is the way you can transport things on water. Canoe is mostly used for recreational purposes, and fishermen also use canoe on water. If you're traveling on the 3rd mainland beach, and next time you're going to the island, or coming from the island, tell daddy to show you a picture, or mommy to show you a picture of a canoe. If you are lucky, you'll see a fisherman on canoe fishing. Now, they are usually small. They can carry between 6 to 8 passengers, but most of the time they are used for recreational purposes. You can see the boy here using his canoe and they usually use paddles as well. This is a paddle. The boy, you can see the yellow and black paddle on his hand. He's using to paddle. That's how to move from left in water using a canoe. Now, another example of boats. Boats are bigger. They're always used to ferry people from one place to the other. Boats are bigger than canoes and they can carry between 8 and 16 people, and in some cases more. Then we have yachts. Yachts are like houses on water. They are luxury form of water transportation to transport people. You can see this yacht, how beautiful and big they are. They usually have kitchen in them. They have sitting rooms in them. In some cases, they have cinemas, places where you can have guests, conference room, and stuff like that. That is a yacht. Yachts are usually very big and very, very expensive. Now, ships. These are the biggest form of water transportation. Now, ships can carry up to about, in some cases, 2,000 people. You can see an example of a passenger ship here on the left, and they can cruise, although they are usually slower, but they can carry a high volume of people at a time. Then ships are also used to bring in goods and services into a country to travel over a long distance but carrying a lot of goods, more than planes can carry. Now, ships are used to transport cars, are used to transport food and other things take for instance, how cars come from maybe America to Nigeria are done using ships. They are big ocean liners and they go on the ocean. Now, air transportation is another form of transportation. Now, it is the transportation which you use to travel through air. A very good example are helicopters. How many of us have seen a helicopter? Fine. Yeah, helicopters usually have blades and they are usually quite noisy and you can tell when they are passing by. Helicopters are used by people, in some cases by servicemen, policemen, firemen, the army, and in most cases doctors and nurses too use these helicopters. Helicopters usually travel fast and they can go to places that are small in which aeroplanes can get to. Now, planes, I'm sure we have all seen planes. If you have not seen them at the airport, we see them traveling by up and high in the sky. Now, planes can carry as much as between depending on the size of the plane, can carry between 2 to 400 people. Yes, and they travel very fast. To get to America will take you just about 16 hours. And if you want to get to London, for example, through the air using a plane will take you just about 6 to 8 hours, depending on how fast the plane is. Planes are very, very modern and popular mode of transportation. They are as popular as cars. Now, spaceship, I'm sure we all know spaceship. This is how we travel by air through space. It's comprised of big rockets that are attached to spaceships and they shoot into space. Right, going to space. I'm sure we all know what space is. Space is the area outside of the Earth. That's how you travel through space using spaceships. Now, these are if you can identify this form of transportation. This is one form of transportation. Can you identify it and tell me the type of transportation it is? This is another Can you tell me what kind of transportation it is and the type of transportation it is? Now, the third one here with the boy. Can you tell me what type of transportation it is, the mode of transportation, and the type of transportation it is? So, let's move on. Now, let's do a little recap on what we have learned today. We have learned that transportation is the movement of goods, services, and humans. Goods means rice, beans, gari, corn. Services mean your parcel, police service, doctor service, air ambulance services. And humans means me, you, daddy, mommy, your uncle, your auntie. Now, this is the transportation of all this, that is goods, services, and humans from one place to another. An example that I gave you is how you move from home to school. That's transportation. Now, we've talked about the modes and types of transportation. We have air, where we talked about planes and helicopters and spaceships. Then we have road, where we talk about cars, where we talked about jeep, and where we talked about buses. Then we have rail transportation, where we talked about trains and trams. Then water transportation, where we talked about ships, boats, and canoes. So don't forget, I asked you, can you name these modes of transportation? Let's go back to it and let's see if you got them right. This is a man gliding on a parachute. This is a man gliding on a parachute. Now, what kind of transportation it is? This is air transportation. It's a mode of traveling by air. It's usually used by the military and in some cases for recreational purposes. Now, the second one is a big balloon. It's called the hot air balloon. Hot air balloon is a form of what? Is a form of air transportation. It's a form of air transportation. Did you get that right? I hope you did. And if you did, clap for yourself. Now, the third one right here and the last one is skateboard. Skating. If you got the skating, then you got it right. What is skating? Skating is, yes, you've got it right, is a form of land transportation because it is done on land. It is not done in water, it is not done on the rail, and it's not done in the air. So, skating is a form of land transportation. Oh, so that's good. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope you now know what transportation is and the types of transportation and how and the advantages of transportation. And I hope you learned a little thing on the history of transportation. Okay, see you in the next class and have a wonderful week. Bye.